it's unbelievable the amount of people I've heard who've been lifelong Labour supporters and have never voted anything different, but have decided to vote for, I say, not the Conservatives, but Boris this time.
Yep.
And I'll use my own father as a prime example. He's not only has he been a lifelong Labour voter, but he's also been quite pro-European in conversations I've had with him in the past. But as soon as Jermey Corbyn his background sort of with the peace negotiations and I have a lot of disputes with him about this myself, but the whole peace negotiations in Northern Ireland, he viewed him as pro-IRA, and his whole opinion on the European Union changed, and he became very anti-European. And I thought, it just seemed to be like he was polarising. It's like because he was friends with the IRA, he says it, I don't view it that way. It caused his lifelong sort of view of Europe to change, and I feel it's sort of the same sort of polarisation they've got in the US. If you believe one thing, then therefore you believe another, and I thought it was quite bizarre.
I think it also played into, and there's a lot of people get sniffy about this in Westminster, mainly people who have always lived a very middle-class life. They have failed to understand a traditional sense of working-class patriotism. And I think there are a lot of people doubted Jeremy Corbyn's patriotism, and we can debate whether they were justified in doing that or not. But it was a thing where they said, well, how can he consort with people like Gerry Adams and Martin McGuinness when the IRA were bombing on mainland Britain? How can he call Hamas and Hezbollah his friends? How can he take 20 grand from Iranian television? That fed into this idea that he wasn't pro-British. And I think that was part of it.
Yeah, I agree, but I say the thing I find is quite hard to believe and bizarre is that he's had these pro-European views for a very long time, but as soon as he finds out that he doesn't agree with Corbyn on one thing, then his opinion on everything else changes. And I think that's it's quite a worrying thing, really.
Well, I think,
and all of a sudden, he agrees with everything that the Conservative Party says.
Yeah, which is a bit odd, isn't it? If you've been a lifelong Labour voter, I guess.
Yeah,
but people do vote for all sorts of different reasons. A lot of people. I mean, some people will just look at somebody and think, well, I like the cut of his jib, but I don't like the cut of his jib. And they'll vote. They don't have a clue what they stand for. They just like the person for whatever reason.
Yeah, I mean, I'm very impartial myself. I think Jeremy Corbyn had a lot of qualities and policies that I admired, and I think the same with Boris Johnson. I'm somewhere in the middle of the two.
So what did you do?
Pardon?
What did you vote?
Well, at first I was a staunch Remainer. I was having arguments in work every day about how we should remain, and then I heard the other side of it. And if he was to give me the second chance of a referendum, I'd vote to leave.
Good man.
But I say that my opinions developed because of obviously having conversations with people who have voted to leave, and I do believe that the whole closer federalisation and the way that Europe was going wasn't just about the single market; it was about creating like a nation. That's the reason I would vote to leave now, and I'm not saying it's going to be financially beneficial to us. I think it will be financially detrimental to us, but in the long run now, I think it's the better thing to do. But coming from someone who's voted to remain and was very convinced of that to someone who would now vote to leave, I can very much appreciate both sides of the argument.